Hello again, Friendship Village. This is your voice of Friendship Village coming at you again today. And we have in our studio a very nice couple that you'll meet here in just a few minutes. And yes, it's you two. It's you two, yes. So, but before we go there, we just want to say thank you to all of our listeners, our valued, faithful listeners from, I like to say it this way, from New York City to California and all points in between, right? Right, Mary?
Yes, from the east coast to the west coast and the north to the south.
Right. My name's Phil Porter, and my very able co-host is Mary Craven, and we're here to bring you some information and make your day maybe a little brighter. And we also want to announce to you that this podcast is being brought to you by Larson Construction, the general contractor that oversaw the whole new building project. It's still going on. It's not finished quite yet, but we just like to say, Mr. Larson and all your crew, we think you did a fine job as far as we can tell. And we appreciate your timely work on our behalf and your friendly manner. I've run into a couple of their people every now and then, and they always seem to have a smile and a kind word, and so we appreciate that. And let's, anyone have a joke that we could start with? I have a joke I'd like to share. It's about a golfer. And our guest is an avid golfer, and so it's the same joke I told, I don't know, a few weeks back, but bear with me here. Okay, so this is about a church preacher who woke up Sunday morning and he just had this burning desire to go out on the golf course instead of go to his church and preach a message. So he kind of wrestled with that. Finally, he decided, I'm going to do it. So he called up his friend from another church, and that friend agreed to cover for him while he was gone. So he got himself ready, got in the car, drove about 35 miles to a golf course. Of course, he didn't want anyone local to see him on Sunday morning out at the golf course. So he went to that place about 35 miles away, got ready, got out his ball, his tee. He's all teed up and limbered, ready to go. And he's facing a kind of a short par 4 at the beginning, about 330 yards, I believe it was. So he takes a big swing and whacks it, and it goes and goes and flies through the air, lands about 10 feet short of the green, bounces onto the green, and wouldn't you know it, it trickles itself into the cup. And he's all excited. He looks around to see if anyone noticed. He doesn't see anybody else. And who's watching all of this happen but God himself and one of God's angels. And they're up in heaven watching all this. And the angel says to God, I don't quite understand. Why did you make him have a hole-in-one? And God looked at the angel and said, well, who's he gonna tell? Who's he gonna tell? Okay.
Right. Very good.
Okay, well, let's see. We have our sponsor identified. We have a joke delivered. I think it's time to talk to our very illustrious and interesting guests.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay.
Today we are going to be visiting with Nancy and Jerry Jackson,
Hey.
a very nice couple from the other side of the pond from where we are. They live in a duplex over there, one of the very nice duplexes.
Yeah.
And they're a very wonderful couple. So I will start out with Nancy. It's always nice to do the lady first.
Well,
so Nancy, where were you born and raised?
Thank you for inviting us and to be here. Well, I was born in a little town in kind of central Iowa, Dawson, Iowa.
Never
born
heard
at home.
Never heard
Never heard of Dawson, Iowa. It's a little farm community. I graduated from Dawson,
Mm-hmm.
and there were 13 in my class.
Oh,
So,
wow.
you know, it was not a big school. During my growing up years, we moved to the farm, and it was about 7 miles west of Dawson, called Jamaica. And maybe you didn't realize that Iowa had a Jamaica, but they do.
I know where that one is.
And so altogether it's a little north and west of Des Moines. It's closer to Perry. After graduation, I decided to go to college. And I went, I had this wonderful aunt who just kept encouraging me, you need to go on to school. So I went to Drake, and at that time, a long time ago, you could have 2 years of education on campus and then get a certificate where you could teach for 1 year and then have to go back each summer to get 6 hours. So it took me a long time to get those last 2 years, but I graduated from Drake. And after the first 2 years, when I stopped and started teaching, my first assignment was in Tama, Iowa. And they had this wonderful city train, the city train of Denver, that went between Perry and Tama, and that was my transportation. And while I was in Tama, I taught there 4 years, but my first year or so, I noticed this nice-looking young man in the choir liked to sing. And we just happened to get acquainted, and things sort of progressed from there.
Okay, we're going to call a halt to that part of it, and we'll continue on. But we want to back up now, and we want to go through Jerry. So, Jerry, where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born and raised in Tama, Iowa, and lived there until 1958 when I went to the service. Of course, met Nancy there, and I went to service in 1958. Spent 2 years in Hawaii in the infantry unit over there.
You joined the Army and got to spend your time in Hawaii?
Well, I didn't join the Army. They drafted me.
They drafted. Oh, I see.
There's a difference there.
Yeah, back in those years, you got drafted.
But yes, but we were combat ready. That was at the end of Korea and the beginning of Vietnam. So we were packed ready to go. But fortunately for me, I didn't get that call. Our unit did until 2 weeks after I left.
Really? Oh, my.
Where'd you take your basic training?
In Fort Carson, Colorado.
Okay,
16 weeks out there.
okay. And did you go from there to Hawaii?
Yes.
Okay,
In fact, the whole company shipped over to Hawaii.
okay.
We didn't all stay together. They put us in different companies over there.
Right, and you were in 2, 3, 4 years?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. If you enlist, it's 3, but when you're drafted, it's just 2.
2.
Yeah.
So you come back, and
In 1959, come back, and when Nancy and I were married in 59, then I come back in 60, and I decided that I needed to get some education, do something, so I decided to go to Gates College, and which is now gone. The Sullivan Convention Center is on that site,
okay.
but it was there.
I've heard of Gates, yeah. That's a very popular
Yeah,
place to
back
go
then,
back
yes,
in
it
Well,
the
was.
isn't there a Gates Park downtown?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
but
why
I
not?
don't know that that has anything to do with
Okay.
Gates College.
Okay, all right.
But then after I graduated from there, I went to work for National Cash Register for about 5 or 6 years. And a friend suggested that I talk to Mr. George Griebenau, who was director of back then it was Urban Renewal. It has a different name now, it's Community Development now, but Urban Renewal. And I was responsible for the land acquisition in the Urban Renewal Project and the Sullivan Brothers Convention Center. And then I was in that for several years, and I decided to go into business for myself. So I went in the bingo supply business and then there was 13 bingo parlors in Waterloo
Wow.
alone. So I traveled all over Northeast Iowa, from Waterloo to Dubuque to Mason City, and selling bingo supplies. And I also made rubber stamps, did plastic engraving, and sold uniforms, police postal uniforms.
Wow.
So
Interesting business. I'd never heard of one like that.
Yeah.
So see what we learn by interviewing all these very nice people. We learn about their backgrounds and their business, and we learn something new all the time. I just really am enjoying that. So Nancy, when he got that far, did you come to Waterloo to teach then?
Yes. I finished 4 years in Tama. Jerry was in service for a year, and I was back finishing up the year. And that summer I applied in Waterloo, and my first teaching job in Waterloo was at Roosevelt School. Now it's still there, but it's an apartment building. And I taught, but then we had 2 children along the way, and then I took some time off and was just a half-time kindergarten teacher while the kids were growing up and little. And when I went back full-time, I went to Elk Run. That's also been discontinued, but they have not really, I didn't substitute it after that. I just sort of retired from teaching.
And you had 2 children, you said, boy, girl?
A boy first, and then a girl.
Okay.
John became a police officer. He had Hawkeye time, and he went to Wartburg and finished out his degree, and became a patrol officer in Overland Park, Kansas. And he went on the steps of leadership there, and until he decided that he'd like to be a chief. And so his first chief's assignment was in Colorado. His second one was Greenwood Village, Colorado. He retired after 30 years in law enforcement and became the city manager of Greenwood Village, still working. And our daughter Julie went to Allen and to Coe and graduated with a BSN in nursing, and has worked with Unity Point now for 25 years.
Mm-hmm. And you have grandchildren?
We have 4, 2 in Colorado, 2 boys, and our 2 in Iowa and grew up in Traer. There's a boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
No one's married yet.
Doesn't your daughter live close by?
She's in Traer.
Traer, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
But no great-grandchildren
No
yet?
great-grandchildren.
Okay.
We're not old enough for great
That's right.
grandchildren.
Okay.
And our first grandson is being married November 1st, so we
Okay.
have that coming up and looking forward to
In Colorado?
in Colorado.
Are you
Yes.
gonna go?
Hopefully,
We've made our plans,
All right.
got the tickets.
better flight.
Oh, you're gonna fly, okay.
Yeah.
And I know, Nancy, you've made numerous trips to Colorado with your sisters. You
Yes,
take trips out there with them.
we were very fortunate. This aunt that encouraged me to go on to school, she and her son left us a Colorado cabin. It's on Red Feather, which is a collection of lakes and beautiful. So we'd go out each summer and spend time in the Colorado cabin.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah. just
Still
really
have
nice.
it? Or,
I've sort of backed out. My sister has my half, and I decided it was best. It was just time to not own property
okay.
there.
All right, that's good.
But I have the rights to go whenever.
Yes.
Well, now, when you're not there, or you or your family, are you renting it out to others? No?
No, we talked about it and had inquiries, but our insurance man said we really couldn't afford the insurance that went with it because we'd be like a shop, an innkeeper,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it would
Takes
be
a
best if
special
we just
license
let
and
people
insurance.
use it.
Yeah.
okay.
It's pretty scenery out there.
Sounds rustic.
It is.
Is that a word? Okay.
And that's a good way of describing it because we have an outhouse,
Okay.
So that's part of it.
No
The
running
rest-
water.
No running water.
Only the water you run after.
Oh.
So you're more or less camping when you go there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a
That's all.
lovely cabin. It's a log
Yeah.
cabin, and it's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah. And you go sometimes, Jerry?
Yes, they let me go once in a while.
Okay. They allow you to go.
For a while when he had the business, he was always covering it and didn't have, the time to go. And Yeah.
And Jerry likes bingo because I know he goes out, or did, out to the Cattle Congress.
I worked out there over 20 years, yeah.
Yes.
Call in bingo.
Yes.
Bingo, yeah.
And you ran a little eating stand too, didn't you? You guys have work at an eating stand?
Yes, at gun shows and
Horse shows.
horse shows and different shows. Right? We run a little kitchen out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're very active in that end of the city.
And helped them up at Electric Park too. on
That's
events.
So now, do you still do that part?
I haven't done it for a while because we're kind of tied down here. You can't really do much.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah.
hard year, the one that
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
for having events. They were pretty well. The park was closed. It didn't, people were not having celebrations, and so
Everything came to a screeching halt because of a little problem that our whole country endured.
Yeah.
So hopefully, we have hope, light at the end of that proverbial tunnel
Now,
sometimes.
you're talking
that-
COVID-19?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
That we could get back to doing the things that we like to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have a little more freedom, but we have to wait it out.
Yeah, I have to be patient and hopeful.
Yeah. We'd like to find out some more experiences
Yeah, take a
about your time here at Friendship Village, but before that, we're going to just pause for a minute so I can get a couple of points over here. One of them, we just want to remind our listeners that Larson Construction is our sponsor for today's program, and so we just take our hat off to the Larson Construction crew and all those that they have hired to be a part of this great adventure on the pond, across the pond from us anyway. And so we thank you for that, Larson Construction. And the other thing I just want to mention is that we're always in the neighborhood seeking people who would like to be on the program and be interviewed, be one of our guests, and share some things about your life or some things you've learned, some of your experiences, whatever it might be. If you might at all be interested, just get a hold of the secretary at the desk of the building you're in, and she'll see that we get notice of that, and we'll take things from there. So, but anyway, let's get back to our exciting interview
Yes.
with the Jacksons.
How long have you lived in Friendship Village?
In 1 month, we'll start our 7th year.
Okay.
We moved in September 20th of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in our house for 45 years, and we had been talking about the snow especially the removal was getting tough. And for me, it was a 2-story house, and the laundry was in the basement, and all the bedrooms were upstairs, and it was just time to downsize. And then the question said, well, if we do, where do we go? We decided we didn't want to buy another house, condo, and had a look at Friendship Village. And we both thought this is a good place to be.
Did you were drawn to the duplex idea right at the beginning, right from our start? Or?
Jerry was. I kept thinking we should be in the building where the dining room was and
Okay.
all that. And he kept coming back to, but we got the garage is there. And,
Yeah.
and it was independent living. We could come and go, and
Yeah.
we just decided that.
I mean, to me, the duplex living is probably as close to your own natural in your home living as it can be around here.
It is.
Yeah.
So we decided, Kathy Martin was very patient with us. I think probably 6 or 7 times she called and said, let's go look. And so we always kept coming back to the duplex and made the decision that that's where we wanted to be.
Okay.
Life care played a part in all of those decisions, but knowing that we had a small family and it just seemed a good place to be.
Okay. Good.
It takes the responsibility away from your family a lot of times by making this choice.
Yes.
I mean, they can be there for you, but you've already made the choice that you're going to be taken care of. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It's a very beautiful selling point to living here.
And I remember John, the first time he came, he said, Mom, he said, I think this is a safe and good place to be.
Yes. Yeah, their views of our living have been wonderful. My family's been that way too. They just think it's just such an ideal place to live.
Well, wasn't that one of your grandkids who said, Grandma, you live in a palace? Or
Yeah,
something?
yes, probably. Probably my grandson from New York.
Yeah.
And he wanted to move in with me. I thought it was pretty nice. I've never heard anything negative about living here. Never anything negative.
Yeah.
So it's been a wonderful place to live. What is your favorite thing about living here, Jerry?
Well, family. And they're kind of like family.
Yes.
You don't get to know everyone, obviously, but you get in a group, and it's just kind of like family. of
And you
course,
get involved in the activities.
yes, you get involved in the activities, and I enjoy doing things for people, and you know, I sit there where I can look out my window and watch people up and down the street there, and they come in and have a bunch of bags of groceries, so I can go out and help them carry them in and do little things for them that helps them. And
You even cleaned the snow off my windshield of my car one time when I needed it. And I thought that was very gracious of you to do that. And I know you've done it for other people too.
Yeah, it's easy to practice kindness.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It doesn't take anything. Doesn't
well, it
take-
gives you something to do.
Yes.
You know, you can go in and just sit down in that chair and expire there if you want to, or you can get involved and do things. You can play pool. You're gonna say you got wood shops, you got pool, you have exercise and hobbies.
The
and
games, bingo and
games
Wheel of
and-
Fortune and all those games. And then we, like Phil and I have talked to each of the people. We've had our chorus that we all sang in our chorus and thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yes.
And we hope someday in the near future that we could resume that activity again.
And I like all the opportunities to play cards.
Yes,
You know,
Nancy's a card player.
There's so
Yeah.
many different things.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of card playing people around here too. So that makes for, you can choose what you want to do. You
And be as
choose it.
busy as you want to be.
Yes, you be
Yeah.
as busy as you want or not. Some people prefer to stay in their apartment and not do a whole lot of things.
That's
But,
all right.
Yeah, that's
That's
their
all right.
choice. That's a choice of living here.
Well, I once likened living in Friendship Village to being in a grand big house with a whole bunch of bedrooms.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can, if you wanted to, you can walk down the hall and knock on the door and say hello and visit, or you could pass by, or they could come and see you, or like you say, you can be about as busy as you want to be. Yeah.
Well, and for 5 years we had a neighbor, Patty. We would go over just about every evening and play cards. She was 95,
95.
and she loved to play cards. And we'd go over just about every night of the week and play cards with Patty. She was the next door to us.
Yeah.
And we didn't; those doors weren't locked, you know, just from one to the other, and that was great.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things with your neighbors, your friends, whoever. Phil and I both lived over there in the area where you live. We liked it over there. We were busy there, and now we're over here in this building. And we're as busy as we want to be.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good
right.
too. Why don't you tell us about this upcoming event that people might be interested in?
Oh, really? Let me do that. I'm a member of the local Proud Image Barbershop
sure.
Chorus, and I know Jerry has in his past been a very active member of a barbershop chorus in Cedar Rapids, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we wanted to just make it known that on Saturday, September 25th, at 2 o'clock at the Cedar Valley Church in Waterloo, the Proud Image will present a free concert to whoever would like to come. And we just learned last night that a chorus from Dubuque is also planning to come and join us. So, so if you like barbershop music,
Love it.
and I love it, and a lot of people do, this is, and you can't beat the price.
Yeah.
It's free, and I'm sure Friendship Village would be willing, hopefully, by a month from now, we're August 25th today, hopefully they'll be able to arrange some bus travel for us to and from the event. So mark that on your calendar, September 25th, 2 o'clock at the Cedar Valley Church, a Proud Image free chorus and show.
What day of the week is that? Phil?
Saturday.
On a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yes.
And there will be flyers up, and I'm sure you might put a little ad in the paper too, or a little notice in the Waterloo paper that it's coming.
I'm
too.
sure, yeah.
Yes, so it'll be well advertised, so we just welcome anybody that wants to come. If you love music, you'll love that.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary, for alerting me to pick that up and talk about it. We want to get a full house there. It's more fun to sing with a whole lot of people. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think we've covered a lot of Nancy and Jerry Jackson's life from beginning till now, and we've certainly enjoyed having them come. Anything more that you would like to add?
Just like to thank you for offering us the opportunity, and look forward to seeing it and other guests that you have as well.
Yes, we've enjoyed contacting many different people to see if they would come and share in our podcast, so we could learn more about them, and so that the residents could learn more, and the people that don't live here listen to them, and they enjoy learning about residents that live here. So it's been a good opportunity to get to know people.
You know, I would guess that for anyone who's been here more than 3 months, they surely know Jerry and Nancy Jackson, because you guys are so involved in just everything. And by the way, Jerry, just appreciate all the times you stepped up to take a leadership position in the council and the foundation board and all those things. Appreciate
Well, thank you.
appreciate
And
you
Nancy
doing
just got a new position also in the
Yes.
auxiliary.
Yes.
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 Our vice
Vice
president.
President.
Yay.
So we're thankful for people that will agree to do those jobs, because we need them. We need them to help. And I don't think any of them are really too difficult. They usually all work together. Again, you work together as a family to make things run.
You know, we got a call the other day. We were sitting there and we got a call. And says, will Jerry come out here and help two ladies get their groceries in the house? So I said, you darn right. I was out there and helped them get their carts and get their groceries in. Just those things that you
Yes.
can do.
Oh my.
And we are a little short on men sometimes, so we need the strong arm of a man once in a while to help us out.
We are outnumbered, aren't we, Jerry?
Yes, we are.
About 4 to 1.
But that's to our advantage.
What's okay.
Okay, that's a joke.
That was a joke. And we're at kind of the end of our time here. So once again, we just appreciate the Jacksons coming, and we hope you listeners have had a good time listening and learning about them and their lives. And as we like to do when we close our program, we're going to say this: may the good Lord bless and keep you till we meet once again.
Amen.
Bye. Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.